So much out there. And I'm going to do our panel now. We've got a couple newcomers this week. Andrew Hayes. Andrew, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. I fully recovered from, for lack of a better term, train wreck that I had yesterday. But I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to talk about what are some of my favorite movie franchises.
And also with us, I've got the Big Papa, Jeff Value here. Jeff, how's it going?
It's fantastic, Malcolm. I'm very excited to be here joining you for the first time. Very excited to be talking about some awesome movie franchises and just having good fun. It's a good panel tonight. Let's have a good time, boys.
And I've also got a couple of returning favorites. I've got Hunter here. Hunter, how's it going?
How's it going, man? Thank you for inviting me back on. I love doing these lists with you. You know, we have a great panel tonight, so let's do it.
And also we've got, last but not least, we've got Ryan here. Ryan, how's it going?
It's going well, good sir. Thank you so much for having me, as well as our fellow panelists. I'm very excited to be a part of this and be with these guys. You guys are fantastical, and this movie franchise discussion is going to be very interesting and a lot of fun along the way. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop on this train and let's get rolling.
Yeah, and just like how the show works, just for anyone watching that doesn't know, everyone nominates a movie franchise, and we all go around and vote whether we think it deserves in the top 12 or not. And then at the end, we rank them in the order. And also for this one, the conditions that I made to my panel for this, for movie franchises to count, it has to have more than 3 movies, because if it's got 3, then in my opinion it's just a trilogy, and I've got a plan for a trilogy list later on. So and also there will be some that some people might count, like Spider-Man is, but that's pretty much a trilogy and a failed trilogy. It's not really the same universe sort of thing, so that'll be why you won't see that one there. And everyone's got a save. So say Andrew decides that Twilight deserves to be on the list, and if it gets if someone else says yes and everyone else says no, he can save it, and that means Twilight will make it on the list. But let's hope it doesn't, because it doesn't really deserve.
You're not gonna worry about that.
Yeah. And
well, just for that, I'm going to nominate it now.
One anyway, because it's a trilogy.
Speaking of which, Andrew, you can throw out the first nomination.
All right. I'm going to start off pretty easy. I'm going to choose, I think, which is one of the obvious ones, just to make things easy. Star Wars. I mean, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back are 2 of the greatest movies of all time. Empire Strikes Back, I think, did so much for the sci-fi genre, and even though Return of the Jedi isn't that great, still it's pretty solid. And you got the prequels, but say what you want about them. I think the quality of the original trilogy alone, and The Force Awakens, and say what you want about The Last Jedi, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I think the qualities of those films really warrants it to be on this list, despite how subpar, let's say, the prequels are.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think about Star Wars?
I mean, Star Wars definitely deserves a spot on this list. I mean, you wouldn't have a lot of sci-fi movies today without Star Wars. I mean, it is so beneficial to a lot of things sci-fi related, regardless of what you think of the quality over time. Yeah, they've kind of been up and down, depending on which film you would look at, but there's still an overall love and fondness for it. So I think it absolutely deserves a spot in the top 12 franchises easily.
Hunter, what do you think about Star Wars?
Oh, without a doubt, Star Wars has to be on this list. Yes, the prequels are not good, but the original trilogy and Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I love The Last Jedi. So, yes, it makes the list.
Ryan, your vote doesn't count, but what would you have said?
Yeah, my words are meaningless at this point. No, it absolutely deserves it. For me, I have 6 of those films that I enjoy more so than others, but that's a story for another day. My favorite movie of that franchise currently right now is Force Awakens. I saw it 6 times in the theaters. I love The Force Awakens so much that I got a poster of it on my gorgeous looking wall of fame over here that unfortunately you can't see. Maybe that'll be on an episode of YouTube Cribs. I don't know. Somewhere down the line. But yeah, Star Wars, no question. The Force is strong with this franchise. I cannot wait to see what they do with it going forward with Episode 9 and here or there, whatever other spin-offs they're going to do. So yeah, Star Wars, absolutely, it would have had my vote.
And yeah, I mean, obviously Star Wars has my vote as well.
No.
Nice.
You don't say.
But,
You don't say.
but yeah, I mean, the prequels weren't the greatest. I mean, I do enjoy the prequels. I mean, I agree that they're not good, but I enjoy them. And I mean, I even enjoyed Solo and Last Jedi. So I mean, but yeah, but Star Wars has made the list. Jeff, what's you're going to bring up?
One franchise I'm going to bring up right now. When I think of a good franchise, I think of consistency, and this is a franchise that's shown to be getting consistently better. And I think a lot of people are going to probably agree with me. The Mission Impossible franchise. This is a franchise I think that is getting so much better. Yeah, the second one, not the greatest one. I think it still has some of its merits to it. It's a guilty pleasure in some regards. But I think this is an overall franchise that consistently got better and is just a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Fallout, look at the praise that's been getting recently. I mean, they're calling it one of the best action movies of the decade. And I think this will go down as one of the greatest action franchises to date. So Mission Impossible, definitely.
Yeah, I'll start this off because I've only seen the first one, so I can't honestly say yes to it. But it's something that I am working on. I am working on seeing the other ones as soon as I can, because I do want to see Fallout in the cinemas. But yeah, Ryan, what do you say to Mission Impossible?
Well, Jeff took one of my picks, and I had a brilliant speech planned for it if I won it at the Academy Awards. So thanks a lot, Jeff. You took my thunder.
Oh, you're welcome.
But I will say that this mission, should I choose to accept it, which I absolutely do. The first one I like, 2, not so much. But 3, 4, 5, and especially 6 with our good friend known as Henry Cavill, a.k.a. Mustache Gate. I mean, he is ridiculously good looking. If you see the trailers and see the movie, you'll understand why he's so good looking and how he can kick tail and take a lot of names, especially during the bathroom scene in Mission Impossible Fallout. I don't want to spoil too much of the fun there. But yeah, Mission Impossible, no question. I love 3, 4, 5, and now 6 because they're just so much fun to watch. I rewatched 3, 4, and 5 to get prepared for Fallout because of how awesome-tacular that trailer with Imagine Dragons was. So freaking good. So yeah, Mission Impossible, I accept this mission and I accept this nomination. So yes, it gets on there.
Hunter, what do you say to Mission Impossible?
I haven't seen any of them. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go back and watch them.
Well, you're disavowed.
So, Andrew, it's down to you. What do you say to Mission Impossible?
I mean, Fallout alone was just worth all the trouble that Justice League got. I mean, I think that is just one of the best, not only action movies of the decade, but like ever, at least from what I've seen. And this is absolutely one of the best action franchises of all time. I mean, the second one's fine. I don't hate it. It is kind of a guilty pleasure, and but from 3 on, it just keeps on getting better and better. And just what they've been able to do and what Tom Cruise has been able to do is fantastic. I absolutely vote yes.
Yeah, he's immortal at his age. He's immortal. He can do this forever.
He's like 56. I go, bro.
Yeah, he's been drinking a lot of tiger blood, so he's immortal. He's cool.
I can't do what he does, and I'm 21. Like, no way.
Oh, you're still a youngin'.
Yeah, he is a youngin', Jeff.
Well, Mission Impossible makes it onto the list.
Yes, it does. Deservedly so.
Hunter, what are you going to throw out next? First.
I'm gonna point my camera over to my Hogwarts sign so you guys can see how it's traveling. My one of the best franchises of all time, in my opinion, is the Harry Potter franchise. Just the world building and the characters and everything that they bring to the story, and the fact that you pretty much grow with the actors. They don't change the actors halfway through or anything like that. You watch as Harry, Hermione, Ron, Draco, all of them, as they grow through each movie, and the movies get darker and darker in each movie. Prisoner of Azkaban is one of my favorite Harry Potter movies. It's probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. That movie is so perfect. Just this whole wizarding world is just incredible, in my opinion. So Harry Potter is my nomination.
Andrew, what do you say about Harry Potter?
I mean, this is easily the best, young adult franchise of all time. I mean, it's really the only one to kind of do it right. And I just loved seeing the world for 9 movies actually. But seeing the world and what they were able to do, and I like it, even though Harry Potter ain't real unless there's something I don't know about.
Same.
It makes you just believe, you believe this could actually happen and whatnot. But it gets a yes for me.
Jeff, what do you say about Harry Potter?
I'm going to divide a lot of people right now. I am not the fan of the Harry Potter films. However, I am not going to deny that it isn't influential. I mean, Hunter has clearly shown it. Andrew's shown it. This is a very influential franchise. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't influential. So I would vote yes, simply just based on the fact that it is so well liked by everybody.
Well, Harry Potter makes on the list. Ryan, what would you have said?
Well, at this point, this is where the the audience would grab their pitchforks and their torches and come at me, bro, because I saw all these movies, and after I watched them, I'm done. I don't need to think about them ever again. They didn't really hit me the way they did with other audiences. It didn't become one of my favorite franchises of all time. To me, I think it's a bit overrated. It gets talked about a little too much in the chat rooms on the interwebs. It's just not my cup of tea, like our good colleague over here, Jeff, was saying earlier. So yeah, I like the first one. I like the last 2, but everything in between of that sandwich, as Brooklyn likes to say, a sandwich, it just doesn't work for me, bro. It just doesn't work for me. I can't see myself watching this franchise over and over and over and over and over and over again religiously. So for me, it would have been a hands down 100% no from me.
I watch it every Christmas, by the way, and summertime apparently, because I watch it a lot over the summer.
Nerds. It's okay.
Yeah, I also really watched it a lot. It's one of my favorite franchises. It would have been a yes for me anyway, but I mean, it makes it as the list. And I mean, it's one of those ones that, for those who may have seen some of my trivia matches, it's one I'm most knowledgeable at it because I tend to go without multiple choice half the time. So
yeah, same with me.
Ryan, what's the franchise you're going to throw out first?
Oh boy, I don't know if we should go with this one or the other one. This is going to be a tough one here, but all right, I'll go with a little bit of an underdog franchise. We'll see if it makes it on the list or not. I'm going to go with a franchise that, to me anyway, has gotten better with a few installments, more so than others. But I still think the positives outweigh the negatives with this franchise, even though some of the installments aren't as good or hold up as much. I'm going to go with a franchise that has a very good, vast need for speed, and I'm going to go with the Fast and the Furious. Because for me, I enjoy the original 1, 2, and 3, and I enjoyed 5 and 6 because that's when it really got electrifying by a very good person known as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Fast 5, Fast 6, no question about it. Those 2 are the absolute best in the franchise for one reason, and that is The Rock. So I'm going to go with the Fast and the Furious. I enjoy these movies. Granted, I enjoy some of them more so than others because Fast 4 is garbage. Fast and Furious 7 didn't really work for me as much as it was a good goodbye to the late Paul Walker. Rest in peace, good sir. And I didn't bother seeing The Fate of the Furious because it looked like garbage. And then when I heard what happened at the end of the movie, it just sounded even worse and worse. It sounded like a Michael Bay movie almost. So that's when it jumped the shark in Furious 7 for me. That's when I got off the wagon. But yeah, I still enjoy some of it. So I'm going to throw the Fast and the Furious into the fray.
Um, yeah, I've only seen half the Fast and the Furious movies, and the half that I have seen, I really don't like. So it's going to be a no from me. Hunter, what do you say about Fast and the Furious?
I have it on my list. I absolutely love this franchise. I loved the first installment, but once Fast Five hit, it just got so much better. The action scenes got so much better. Fast and Furious 6 was really good. Furious 7 is the only movie that made me like tear up at the end in the theaters, and I love Fate of the Furious. So yeah, it's a yes for me.
Jeff, what do you say about Fast and Furious?
Choose your words carefully, Jeff.
I was like, Ryan, you and I are like pretty much like right in line with each other. I love these movies so much. I mean, when the first one came out, I mean, looking back on it now, it's definitely a product of the times. I mean, people don't act like what they did in the first movie nowadays. It's definitely dated, but yeah, 2 wasn't the best one for me. Tokyo Drift was surprising. Wasn't great, but wasn't good. Yeah, 4 was a hot mess, really bad. It was once 5 came around and they kind of found a new niche to go with, like the whole bank robbery style. It really seemed to find a new footing and inject a new life into the franchise, which I really liked. 7, yeah, I know Ryan didn't really care for it. I thought it was a perfect ending to the film franchise there. The fact that they continued on to 8, I was like, unnecessary, but they jumped the shark definitely a lot. I mean, or more so the submarine, but
yes,
they jumped the submarine big time, but this is the definition of a franchise, not necessarily a franchise. This is a film franchise for the fans, by the fans, for the fans. And I think it should deserve a spot.
Fast and the Furious has made the list. Andrew, what would you have said?
I would have absolutely said no. I mean, I could care less about these movies, to be 100% honest. I mean, I know a lot of people have fun with it, and, you know, there is fun to be had. It's just not for me. I could care less about these movies. I will say...
We got some haters in the room.
I will say it was great seeing The Rock bottom somebody on top of a car in the 6th one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
So good.
And seeing him hit the rock bottom on Vin Diesel in the, 5th one? Fast 5, I believe it was.
The 5th one where they really duked it out.
They threw each other through walls and doors. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's made the list. So I've been
much to Malcolm's dismay.
It just means ranking them will be easy, especially the bottom 2.
Yeah,
Ooh, the
yeah.
bottom 2.
At least I know what my 12th one's gonna be.
Anyway, I'm gonna throw out my nomination now. We're going from very small franchises to a really big franchise. There's 20 movies in this franchise. Lots of different cast, lots of different directors.
Just say it,
I think a lot of people.
We know where you're going.
Yeah, it's the MCU. I mean, but yeah, the MCU is one that's been going on for ages. It's only had a 2 missteps out of the 20 movies. So I mean, it's going strong, and I mean, it's going to continue to go strong at all. And I mean, I'm going to try not to spoil Infinity War or anything, but it's been out for a while, but it's going. I can't wait for next year to find out what actually happened after the snap. So I mean, can't wait. Andrew, what do you say to the MCU?
I mean, I'm tempted to say no, just because I know everybody else is going to say yes. But but I mean, I have to say yes. What they've been able to do for 10 years and 20 movies is just nothing we've really seen before. And yes, they've had a couple missteps, but I feel like Infinity War kind of makes up for that in that quality. And they have been, for the most part, pretty consistent. So it's absolutely a yes for me.
Jeff, what do you say?
I mean, it's a definite yes. I mean, when take a look back, like back in 2008, you know, this was during a time when comic book movies were looked at as like the kiss of death to some actors. Like if you went into some of these, like coming off of like Batman and Robin or Catwoman, even I'll say, yeah, I put a bad taste in everybody's mouth mentioning those. But the fact that somebody high up looked at them and said, we want to create an entire universe with all these characters and make it all interconnected through multiple movies, it's a huge gamble. And the show that they have paid off with this exponentially, making billions at the box office, it just shows why they're good. I say people keep coming for a reason. It's because they're good storylines. They offer a lot of variety with different heroes. I mean, they have something everybody can like, and I can't wait to see how the franchise keeps going, even after the fourth Avengers film. It's a definite yes.
MCU's made the list. Hunter, what you want to see Jesse anyway? So what?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah. And same with you, Ryan.
Yeah, pretty. This is a definite yes. I mean, to me, granted, there are some films that I like more so than others, but the best thing about this franchise is that there is a fan of each and every single one of these films, whether they're good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. The point is, there are fans out there that worship the ground this franchise walks on. With Avengers: Infinity War coming out and knocking everybody out, literally with that big ass Infinity Gauntlet. Sorry for the language, folks. That Infinity Gauntlet is just so monstrously awesome, and Thanos gave like an Oscar-worthy performance with James. He was so freaking good, man. So yeah, MCU, no question. Infinity War, I saw it twice in the theaters, and by the way, it comes out on Blu-ray this Tuesday. Make sure you pick it up at your local store. Which I will handily. I cannot wait to watch it over again and watch those special features.
And just to clarify, we're not paid off from Disney. We aren't required to promote their DVD sales.
We're not Disney shills. No one's sending us checks in the mail.
I wish Disney sent me checks, but
Andrew, what's your next nomination going to be?
My next one is actually another a superhero franchise, and no, it's not the DCEU. It is actually the X-Men. I really, the first one's really solid. The second one is great. Say what you want about the third one, and X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men Apocalypse, they're not the best, but I think the quality of the really good ones is especially Logan and Days of Future Past and X2 and even First Class. I'll say they're just, to me, so good that it kind of just really doesn't get hampered by the bad ones. So I'm going with X-Men on this one.
It definitely deserves to be on the list. It's going to be yes for me. We did an X-Men movie rank a few weeks ago with Jay Washington, and that was a lot of fun. And we managed to blow Jay's mind by putting Last Stand underneath Apocalypse. So. Ryan, what do you say to the X-Men?
Well, once again, someone stole my thunder and took one of my Academy Award speeches, so thanks a lot, guys. But I will say this though, as someone who grew up on the '90s animated series during the greatest decade of them all, known as the 1990s, on one of the best networks known as Fox Kids, that animated series and that theme song is so iconic, it's freaking legendary. I got the whole series on Blu-ray, son. Yeah, that's right, I got sources. Love this franchise. Love these characters. Grew up with the series as much as anybody else did. So absolutely, it would make my list. And I love the X-Men movies. I just rewatched a bunch of them. 1, 2, and 3. Was 1, 2. 1 and 2 for me are awesome. And then Days of Future Past is my favorite X-Men movie out of all of them. I did love Logan as well. But man, there's so many movies to pick from in this franchise. It's ridiculous. So yeah, X-Men is extraordinary. It is excellent, and it makes the list because X marks the spot.
And with that, X-Men made the list. Hunter, what would you have said?
Oh, it would have been a yes for me. The one thing that I like about the X-Men movies is that there's something for everybody. You want a comedy? You got Deadpool 1 and 2. You want really good sci-fi action, you've got Days of Future Past. You want a heart-wrenching, violent, gritty movie, you got Logan. There's something for everybody, and this is definitely should be on the list.
And Jeff, what would you have said?
I mean, it would have been a definite yes for me. I mean, there's not much more to say about this franchise. Everybody really covered all the bases. I mean, it has everything you could want out of a comic book franchise. And yeah, X-Men's great. I love X-Men.
And going back to you, Jeff, what's the next one you're going to throw out to nominate?
All right. So we're going to go a little different. We're going to go something that I personally grew up with and have a sentimental attachment to. This might be a little divisive, but I think this is one of my favorite franchises, and that is the Rocky franchise. I adore these films. I think they are so much fun. It's being that I am from Pennsylvania, of course, there's going to be some sort of attachment there. I'll say being from East Pennsylvania and being that Philadelphia is like literally an hour from me. You have a sort of connection with this franchise. I mean, the first one, it is like the true underdog story. It is so amazingly done. The second one is just as good. Third one kind of loses a little momentum there. Fourth one, that's just, you can't get anything better than the fourth movie. That movie is so freaking fun. The fifth one, yeah, everybody kind of forgets about that. But then when you have Creed come in, I mean, Rocky Balboa, it was what it was. I think it was decent enough. But Creed, Rocky Balboa has its good moments, but Creed, nobody expected this to be as good as it was. I thought, I was like, okay, this is going to be good. And then you actually saw it and you're like, my God, this is like the best way they could continue this franchise in a respectful way. These films are so fantastic. Rocky is so good.
And Rocky is on the table. Andrew, what do you say about Rocky?
You know, I'm gonna also have to go with yes on this one. It is, I mean, for me, I mean, Rocky is fantastic, and I personally enjoy Creed more, and I just it's a great underdog story and whatnot. And you know, I'm pretty close to Philadelphia, so it also I'm not quite from Pennsylvania, but I do love the franchise, so I'm gonna have to go yes.
Yous get it.
Hunter, what do you say about the Rocky franchise?
Oh, I love the Rocky franchise. It's a yes for me. Rocky 1, 2, and 3. 3's iffy. 4 is cheesy, but it's so much fun.
Yes.
5 is not good. 5 is not good. Balboa is my third favorite. And Creed is amazing. Creed's my number 1 favorite. Creed is incredible. So it's a yes for me.
And that puts Rocky on the list. Ryan, what would you have said?
Yo, Adrian. Well, here's the thing. I've only seen the original Rocky film and Creed. Everything else in between that sandwich, I have not seen. So I am not well informed enough to form my own opinion on this franchise. So for me, it would have been a no, just because I haven't seen enough installments to really say if I enjoy this franchise as a whole.
Rocky 4 is all you need to watch right now.
I'm gonna do my. I'm kind of a completist, so I want to watch as many Rocky movies as I can. So I'm gonna put that on. It's on the list. But I will say though, one of my favorite songs of all time is "Eye of the Tiger" by Survivor. So I have to give the city a brotherly love. It's always sunny in Philadelphia. So I got to give Rocky some respect. But for this list particularly, I would have said no. As much as I love you, Adrian.
I made the list.
I did it.
You've seen more of the Rocky franchise than I have, Ryan. I haven't seen any.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Hey, at least I'm not alone here in a way.
Malcolm and Ryan are going to sit down and watch Rocky 4 together, and they're going to get a complete basis of this franchise based off of that movie.
The next Take 3 watch along, Malcolm.
We probably should do that, Malcolm. Let's put that on the list for Take 3 next year.
Hunter, what's your next nomination going to be?
I'm going with a weird one here, but it's. I'm a horror lover. I love horror movies, and I'm going with one that mixes horror and comedy so well, and that's the Evil Dead franchise. The first one is a really good, classic, low budget, creepy movie. The second one, even better than that. Army of Darkness. All right, I'm gonna go back real quick. The second one is a good mix of horror and comedy because you have Ash as this very charismatic character played by the great Bruce Campbell. Army of Darkness is so silly, it's so funny, it's so entertaining to watch, and the reboot is very fucking creepy and disturbing, but works so well in the universe. So that's why I'm putting The Evil Dead on here. I don't think it's gonna make it, but let's throw it out there and see.
Yeah, I'll lead this off. I've tried watching the first one so many times, just I can't get into it. I'm not a fan. It's a no for me. Ryan, what do you say about Evil Dead?
Well, I know he has a lot of quotable lines in these movies. Groovy. But I will say, I am not informed on this franchise. I haven't seen one single solitary installment. I haven't even watched the TV series that lasted for 15 minutes called Ash vs. Evil Dead. So so for me, I would have said no, just because I haven't seen any of this franchise, so I'm not informed enough.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you say about Evil Dead?
Yeah, I didn't think about this one in the beginning. I say this is a solid enough franchise. One of the best, though? I don't think so. I would say these movies are enjoyable. I will give them, I would say, like, the first one definitely was a very unique horror film. And then once it found its footing, kind of mixing that horror and comedy bit more, I think it really stuck into that. And yeah, the reboot actually is surprisingly well done. Fede Alvarez did a bang-up job with that film. As far as it standing up with some of these other nominees, I don't think it really has the chops to do that. So it's going to be a no for me.
Yeah.
And sadly, Evil Dead doesn't make the list. Andrew, what would you have said?
I also, unfortunately, would have went with no. It just, I do enjoy the movies, and it's a good franchise, but with what I have on my personal list, and I just personally don't think it's up there with the best. So, I would unfortunately
don't worry.
say no.
Yeah,
I'm reading the Necronomicon to send spirits over there for you guys, so.
yeah. Brian, what are you going to bring up next?
All right. Well, since I already satisfied my need for speed, even though that's from another movie, but we'll leave that there for another day. I'm going to go with the franchise that, even though it didn't really get better with each installment, it kind of went a little downhill. But for me, the positives of this franchise still outweigh the negatives, despite some of its later installments. It's a sense of, if you go with this person, you'll live. So come with me if you want to live. So I'm gonna go with Schwarzenegger's, one of his many claims to fame, and I'm gonna go with the Terminator franchise because I rewatched the trilogy because 4 and 5 don't really exist, especially Terminator Salvation. That's a heap of garbage. And Terminator Genesis or Jenny Smith, whatever it's called, was okay up until the last 5 minutes. I was like, what is this movie? But yeah, I'm going to go with the Terminator franchise because to me, and this is going to go a lot of the people out there, and I know you're going to come at me with pitchforks and torches, and that's okay. I'm used to that on a daily basis on the interwebs. I think the first Terminator is better than the second one, in my opinion, because after rewatching all 3, to me, the first Terminator is so freaking good. It's a great sci-fi horror film. It's so good. So let's go with the Terminator, and hopefully you will accept my offer and come with me if you want to live.
Andrew, do you want to go with Ryan if you want to live?
I mean, while I would love to be with Ryan, if I was in a life or death situation, I'm gonna have to go with no on this. I mean, the first 2 are 2 just instantly classics. And they're some of the best movies of all time. It's just that the rest of them, they're not that good. And I think the difference between like this or something like, X-Men or Star Wars, that, they have their bad movies. It's that there's enough good movies in those franchises to kind of block out the bad, while the bad there's just so much bad in this. So I'm going to have to go with a no on this one.
Jeff, what do you say about the Terminator?
I mean, there's no doubt that these films are influential. The original 2 are influential. 3, yeah, it's not the best one. It's this film is kind of cool because this is the first R-rated movie I actually saw in theaters, but I gotta go with no, just because 4 and 5 just leave such a sour taste in everybody's mouth. I look at it more as a trilogy than I do an actual franchise because it seems like the first 3 are the only ones that really matter and the ones that only people look at. So I'm gonna go with the no.
Yeah, the trilogy. Yeah.
Hunter, what do you say about the Terminator?
While I think T2 is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and Terminator 1 is incredible, I'm going to agree with Andrew and Jeff and say the rest of them are just so horrible. 3 was not good. 4 was awful. And Genesis, I watched like 15 minutes of it and then turned that shit off. But,
Genesis.
Yeah, that's a no. That's a no.
Jenny Smith, as Mark Ellis would say.
Yep.
Jenny Smith. Yeah, that's great. I love the puns on that movie.
Wasn't it Schneep that came up with the Jenny Smith?
It might have been,
maybe it
actually.
was. I think it was that
Maybe,
Chef Meister.
I don't know, but I do know that Ellis said it like every 2 seconds.
He said it like every 2 days.
Ah.
Yeah, and it would have been a no from me too. Just, I mean, hopefully if this new one that's coming, it turns the franchise around.
No, it's not. Terminator 6 isn't going to do it any favors.
Linda Hamilton coming back is a promising little glint, but
Yeah, because she has nothing better to do.
I'll say, but we said the same thing about Arnie coming back too. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
He's got nothing better to do either.
In his defense, he was the best part about Genesis. So.
Genesis. You mean Genesis? Not
Oh
Genesis.
yeah, my
Genesis.
my bad. Genesis.
Yeah, Jenny Smith. It's all right. I guess my pick, Malcolm, got terminated. No pun intended.
hasta la vista, baby.
Baby.
Now, I'm going to bring up, for my next one, a franchise that's near and dear to my heart. And I know someone who's not here, who's in Take 3, is also a big fan of this franchise. It is, of course, the Middle-earth franchise. This is one of the ones that, like, it's not just because it's filmed in New Zealand either, but I mean, I like the franchise. I even do love the Hobbit movies as well. So, I mean, for me, there's no down things in this. I mean, I agree that the Hobbit movies aren't as good as the original trilogy, but I think the original trilogy is enough to be get it on the list. And I mean, it's also won a buttload of Oscars as well. So I mean, the franchise does have Oscars in it as well. So I mean, yeah. Ryan, what do you say about Middle Earth?
Well, I've been to the Shire a few times in my life, and those times that I've been to the Shire, see, I can't even stay in character. Gosh darn it. They've been fun, but to me, I saw the first Hobbit movie, and I was like, it put me to sleep. It was so bleeding boring, to the point where I didn't want to go anywhere near Middle Earth for the next 2 films in that particular franchise of The Hobbit. So, with all due respect, as much as I like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which reminds me, I got to rewatch that trilogy. I've only seen Fellowship of the Ring a dozen times. I need to rewatch Two Towers and Return of the King. But with all due respect, I know this film was, this series of films was shot 2 miles from your house, Malcolm, and I love you to death like a brother. But with all due respect, I'm going to have to give you the ring back. You can have the power, because for me, it's going to be a no for Middle Earth. I'm sorry, but I only liked Middle Earth for 3 minutes because the other 3 minutes just didn't do it for me. So it's a no.
I'm pretty sure Malcolm was in all the movies.
He was. He had a cameo. He was in the Shire during the Bilbo birthday party scene. Yeah.
Yep.
Hunter, what do you say about Middle Earth?
Oh, without a doubt, it's a yes for me. I might get hate for this. I love the Hobbit trilogies, not as much as Lord of the Rings. I thought the first one was good. Desolation of Smaug was really fucking good. And the last one was iffy, but it closed out the series really well, I think. And I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so it's a yes for me.
Hunter, Jeff, what do you, what do you say?
much like Harry Potter, I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise. But I can't deny that it's not influential. I can't deny that it's not important to people. I've seen the original trilogy, and I've only seen them once, so I'm not as connected to it as everybody else is. And I thought they were fine. They're not really my kind of thing. I saw the Hobbit movies, and they were, they were not so great. But I remember watching the original trilogy, and it actually was enjoyable. I mean, long in some ways, but easy to get through. So I'd give it a yes. So I'd say not high on my list, but I'd give it a yes.
Yeah. And middle of Max list, Andrew, what do you say?
I would have totally said yes. I mean, the original 3, just one big epic story that I'm invested in every second of. And I mean, the first Hobbit is fine. I actually really like Desolation of Smaug. I think that one's actually pretty good. But I mean, and Battle of the Five Armies is just not that good. But still, they're good for what they are. But yeah, no, I would have said yes either way.
And Andrew, it's back to you. What are you going to bring out next to nominate?
I'm actually going to bring up one that I actually kind of like when I'm thinking about franchises. I didn't think of this one right away, but it's actually a franchise that I love to death, and I'll make a case for it. That's actually the Scream franchise. I think that the first one is personally one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite horror movies. I think it absolutely does horror and comedy in a way that it's just never been done before and hasn't been done since. It totally reinvented the genre, and it is a huge satire on horror and whatnot. And I think that the second one is genuinely very underrated. It's definitely not as good as the first one, but it's still very, very enjoyable. And I love what they did at the end, especially with who the killer ended up being. The third one, not the greatest. They're still fun to be had. That's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. But the fourth one, I think, is, to me at least, one of the most underrated movies of this decade. I think it is great up until the last, 15 to 10 minutes. And it's just as good as the first one up until that ending. And this is one that I don't really expect to make it, but might as well give it a shot.
Scream is on the table. Jeff, what do you say about Scream?
This was a franchise I thought about. I kind of was going through my list a bit, and was kind of just thinking of rough outline. And yeah, I thought of Scream later on, and I was like, yeah, these are enjoyable movies. But not quite in the upper tier, I would think. I think it would just miss my list. But yeah, these films really did inject new life into horror. I loved the first film. The second film really is underrated, so I agree with you definitely on that one, Andrew. The third one, yeah, it definitely missed the mark a little bit and didn't really find where it was going. But the fourth one, I liked the fact that they introduced a lot of modern horror tropes and really kind of upped the game a bit. But I think it just missed my list, so I'm going to go with a no on this one.
Hunter, what do you say about Scream?
Scream is the movie that got me into horror. I watched this when it originally came out, and I absolutely love the first one. The second one is, I think, underrated because it's a really good sequel. The third one is hit and miss here and there. It's fun to watch. And the fourth one takes it back to what the original was supposed to do. Make fun of the horrible tropes in horror movies and turn it on their head. I love the fourth one. It's my second favorite of the franchise. It's a yes for me.
And Ryan, what do you say about Scream?
Oh boy. I think the pressure's on me, right? Am I the deciding vote on this one?
No.
I'll be, because if you
If
say
you vote no, it would be tied.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, I still got no. Okay, no pressure, right, Ryan? Okay. This is a franchise that came way out of left field. I'm glad somebody brought this up because 1 and 4 are so freaking good. They're entertaining. They bring a lot of good tropes into it. They make fun of stuff. They have good characters. Nev Campbell is she's quite beautiful. Hello, Sydney. I mean, and I met the voiceover of Ghostface himself at a Comic-Con, Roger Jackson. He signed my DVD to Ryan. I'll gut you like a fish, aka Ghostface. That was awesome. So, but as far as like making the elite list, I don't know if I put it on there because to me, I need the positives to outweigh the negatives. And for me, this is a mixed cup of coffee because 2 of the films work, whereas the other 2, no, thank you. So. As much as I love Ghostface and all his one-liners, and then Drew Barrymore's short cameo in the first one, she was so good in that. Oh, man, this is hard, but for me, I'm probably gonna have to say no because as much as I like this franchise, I wouldn't put it on the elite of the elite of the elite list. So Scream, thanks for making the phone call. I do like scary movies to a certain extent, not a lot, but I do like some. But I'm going to have to put your phone call somewhere else. I'm sorry. You called the wrong house, man. It's a no for me.
Hey, Ryan, I'm going to gut you like a fish.
I know, yeah.
Now it's down to me.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to say yes because
Whoa!
I mean, this I found all 4 of them enjoyable. I actually liked 2 and 3. I mean, granted, they weren't as good as 1 and 4, but I mean, they were good enough to warrant Scream to make the list. I mean, so yeah, Scream.
Good job, Andrew.
Well, this is the first. This is the first surprise of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
It's not a bad franchise. It just missed mine.
It's uneven. It's uneven for me as much as I like 1 and 4.
Jeff, do you have any more surprises for us?
I'm not about necessarily a surprise, but I'm kind of surprised this wasn't actually brought up early. This is a franchise that a lot of people forget the 4th film. They really do kind of just glaze over the fact. But when you look at the original 3, you can't deny their greatness. Indiana Jones, everybody. Indiana Jones is where it's at. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark is like probably one of the greatest adventure films of all time. I mean, it solidified the fact that Harrison Ford is indeed a star. Temple of Doom, yeah. And Temple of Doom is not my personal favorite. I like it better than Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull is the one we don't talk about anymore. But Last Crusade, I think I actually might like that better than Raiders. I love Last Crusade. I was like, it has the fact that the first 15 minutes it sets up the best prequel, an origin story you can for Indiana Jones. You don't need a separate movie to explain somebody's character. You can do it in 15, 20 minutes. I think a lot of films could learn from Last Crusade. So Indiana Jones, I think, should absolutely be mentioned here.
Yeah, I'm going to go right out and say it. Yeah, it's a yes for me. And I actually did enjoy Crystal Skull a little bit as well. I mean, yes, it's not as great as the original trilogy, but I didn't think it was as horrible as what everyone else is making it out to be.
It has some redeemable moments in it.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but if you compare it to the first 3, especially
oh my god, it's like
Raiders and
it's like Photoshop and Microsoft Paint. You just can't compare them.
Ryan, what do you say to Indiana Jones?
Well, as someone who grew up on my favorite in the franchise, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and watched it on repeat on my VHS tape, for those of us who remember those little items known as VHS tapes, I watched it a lot when I was a kid. The theme song is one of my favorites of all time. I have a fedora that it looks exactly like Indy's in my hat closet, which I don't know if that's a made-up word, but I'm making it up now.
I got a hat closet too.
However, I know the knight in this 3rd film makes 2 sayings that are very famous. Unfortunately, I need the positives to outweigh the negatives, and for me, this one just misses the mark. Because Temple of Doom, piece of garbage. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it had some good redeeming qualities. It was better than Temple of Doom because for me that bar wasn't raised at all. But at the same time, I don't like remember it fondly as I do the first one and the third one particularly because Last Crusade is boss. So unfortunately, Jeff, I love you like a brother, but in this case, he chose poorly.
My heart.
It's a no for me, man. As much as I love Indiana Jones 1 and 3, it's just it has some too many negatives. So for me, you chose poorly. I'm sorry, brother. I still love you, Jeff.
No, it's all love.
Hunter, what do you say about Indiana Jones?
Choose
I've
wisely.
only seen Raiders.
You haven't seen Last Crusade?
I've only seen Raiders. I'm gonna watch them soon. I love Raiders. It's hard for me to find where they are.
Yeah.
Like Hulu only has Raiders for some reason. That's it.
Yeah, I mean we've only got Raiders on Netflix in New Zealand as well, so I don't know what they've done. That for a lot of fans. They've done that.
The struggle is real to stream Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Andrew, what do you say about Indiana Jones?
Listen, this one's kind of funny for me. I mean, I love the first three, but I always forget that there was a fourth one. Like, I legitimately forget that Crystal Skull happened.
Yeah.
So I always say, the Indiana Jones movies are like some of the best movies of all time. And then someone goes, you like Crystal Skull? And I go, I forgot about that one. But I mean, it's funny because I always consider this a trilogy, even though it's not. But I'm gonna have to say yes. I mean, I love Raiders is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time for me.
Oh wow!
And I do love Temple of Doom a lot, and Last Crusade is also up there for me. And Crystal Skull, not the worst thing in the world, but still, in terms of Indiana Jones movies, yeah, it is. So, but anyway, I'm gonna have to go yes.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it is a good theme song. Not gonna lie.
We've got 2 spots left.
Oh,
Hunter,
gosh.
are you going to be able to fill up that one of those 2 spots?
I hope so, because this is one that people can really determine if this is a franchise or not. I personally count it as a franchise, but I'm going the Pixar universe movies. Now, if you really look at it, it's all under one umbrella. For me, it counts as a franchise, and just the movies that they have in this universe is. I mean, you have all 3 Toy Stories. You got Incredibles, Incredibles 2, Inside Out. Just a lot of great quality animation movies that really tug at your heartstrings. There are some duds here and there, but there's maybe 1 or 2 duds in the Pixar series. I love almost everything Pixar. I'm a huge animation fan as well. And the animation quality is always good. The stories are always heart-wrenching and funny. And I love anything to do with Pixar movies. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay. Andrew, what do you say about Pixar? Do you consider it a franchise, and do you think it should be on this list?
I mean, I love Pixar. I mean, they're some of my favorite movies. Besides a couple of them that are all like pretty consistent. However, I do love the Pixar theory and would like to think that it's actually true. But for me, there's no concrete yes, there's evidence, but there's no really confirmation that they're all connected. And I just really, when looking at the Pixar movies, I don't see them all as one thing really, and I'm gonna have to go no, because I really don't consider it a franchise, just a studio's filmography.
Yeah. Jeff, are you on that same train of thought?
Yeah, Pixar movies are fantastic. I mean, there's no doubt denying that Pixar has really captured the essence of being both a kid and adult. Even in the child in an adult, there's no sense in denying that. As far as it considered a franchise, that's a little bit of a stretch, I think, because like Andrew kind of said, there's no real concrete evidence of it necessarily being a connected universe or a connected franchise. I mean, the Cars franchise is more connected, or the Toy Story franchise is more connected, and yeah, they all have nods toward other Pixar films, but there isn't really any concrete definitive answer of if they're all connected. But while I love the films, yeah, I look at it more as a studio rather than an actual shared universe and franchise. So I'm gonna go with a no on this one.
Ryan, are you on that same train of thought?
Yeah, I never thought of Pixar as a franchise or they're all interconnected. Like, it's a conspiracy theory, they're all connected. No, I'm not one of those people on the keyboard typing up conspiracy theories. And I don't have access to a Gil Grissom or a Sarah Seidel to do a CSI analysis of this franchise, so I can't really comment or speculate because I haven't seen every single Pixar film that's ever been made in the history of mankind. I've only seen some, and then the others that I've seen, I thought they were fine. To me, my favorite Pixar films are Toy Story Trilogy and Inside Out. Those are awesome, spectacular films, son. But in this case, once again, whoever was this Hunter's nominated or Andrews?
Hunter's.
Hunter.
Yeah. Oh, it was Hunter. All right. Well, Hunter, as much as I love you, once again, you chose poorly. So it would have been a no, big fat no from me, man.
I didn't expect it to make it anyway. I just had to bring it up.
Yeah, it would have been no for me. I mean, that Pixar theory is out there, but I mean, no one from Pixar has come out saying that it's all connected.
If you want to investigate it, just call the CSI team in Las Vegas. They'll take care of it.
Oh, I will.
Yeah. And I mean, I probably would have said no too, because looking at what we've got there, there's a few big franchises that actually aren't there yet. Ryan, do you have one of them?
I hope so, because I'm going to go with something that's, I think it's popular. I don't know if it is, because it's only been around for a couple of years, maybe not as long as some of the others, but who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. It's someone who has a very specific goal, and that is to save the world each and every day, and he has a license to do a certain thing. I believe it's called license. Now, may I remind you, 007, that you have a license to kill, not to break the traffic laws. I wouldn't dream of it. Good. So I'm going to go with the world's greatest secret agent, even though everybody knows who he is, so it's really no secret. I'm going to go with James Bond because there are some really good films in that franchise, and of the ones that I've seen, because I haven't seen each and every one, I'm looking at you, Roger Moore era, of those I've seen, I think the positives still far outweigh the negatives. And full disclosure, I have a GoldenEye poster in my closet over here. So, yeah, I'm a James Bond fan through and through. So let's throw the James Bond franchise into the mix. And I want to give you all a license to vote. The choice is yours.
Yeah, I'll lead this one off. Yeah, it's a yes from me. It's my favorite Inner Geekdom franchise out there. I know that Mike's still fighting to be included in the Inner Geekdom League, but it's. I mean,
all those sheep.
Hey, I'm one of those sheep. Okay, I love that guy.
But yeah, I mean, he hides his face quite well because he changes his face every 6 movies. It's a new actor that comes on, so he changes his face. No one knows who he is. So, Hunter, what do you think about the James Bond franchise?
I haven't seen. The only one I've seen is Skyfall.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Dude, we need to have an intervention for Hunter after the show on aisle 3.
So many movies to get caught up on.
Jeff, what do you think about James Bond?
James Bond, I mean, he's the quintessential guy everybody wants to be, like right up there with Indiana Jones. Who else do you want to be like James Bond? He has all the cool gadgets, the cool cars and everything. James Bond's a definite yes. I mean, like there's so many good films in the franchise, and when they're bad, they're pretty bad and they're pretty forgettable. I would say Spectre was a huge disappointment for me.
George Lazenby.
But
Spectre. Yeah.
But there's no denying that James Bond isn't influential. I mean, this franchise wouldn't continue on for how many years if it wasn't
50.
Good.
Over 50.
Yeah, over 50 years, and they're still talking about continuing on with this. It just shows why it's so loved. I mean, people continue coming to see these films, so it's a definite yes.
You chose wisely.
And James Bond has made the list. Andrew, what would you have said?
I would have definitely said yes for all the reasons I've already mentioned. It's also one of the 2 that I have left on my list that I would love to mention. So I would have 100% said yes.
Then it's back to me for another nomination. this is hard because there's a few that I want to throw out there, but only there's one more spot left. I'm going to go for an outside pick because this could make it or not. And I know Zach Ford will be disappointed if it doesn't at least get mentioned. This is the Muppets franchise. I mean, this has got a lot of movies out there, and it's I mean, they're always fun to watch. I mean, and it's like they may not be connected or direct sequels. I think Most Wanted, the recent one, is the only direct sequel that they've got kind of close to a direct sequel that they've done.
Right.
And I mean, but it's just, yeah, I mean, it's always incredible to watch. I mean, the cameos that always pop up in the movies is just amazing. Andrew, what do you say about the Muppets?
This is actually the last one that I would have mentioned, so it's 100% a yes for me. I mean, I grew up on all these movies. I absolutely adore them. I mean, they're some of my favorite characters just ever. I love the first one. It's one of my favorite road trip movies, and I think the Muppets one that I believe came out in 2011 is also very, very well done. I mean, I just love what they do with the movies, with the cameos and the music. It's just so heartwarming. And I couldn't do my boy Zach dirty like that, so I would have definitely mentioned them, and definitely want to say yes.
Jeff, are you a man or are you a Muppet?
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah. Another franchise I thought of after the fact just missed my list though. But I like these movies. There's no doubt about them being good. I just think there's 1, 2, maybe 3 others above this one though, I would say. But I do like the Muppets. I'm not gonna doubt Zach Ford for liking the Muppets or anything like that. I mean, I love Rainbow Connection. I think it's a fantastic song. But I'm gonna go with a no.
Oh my gosh, he's not even a man or a Muppet. He's a naysayer.
Hunter, are you a Muppet of a man?
Choose wisely.
See, I've seen Muppet movies here and there. Like I've watched them completely out of order. They're entertaining. Some of them are actually really good. With one spot available, I can't see me putting Muppets on there, especially with one to go. That's just me, though.
Ryan, what do you think about the Muppets?
Well, as someone who wants to stay on Zach Ford's good side, and I do enjoy the show that him and Robert do, which you can subscribe to on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. Fireside Chit Chat, look it up, subscribe. It's a really good show. Check it out. There's one of your many plugs for the day, for free. I grew up with this franchise like many others. This franchise puts a smile on my face any time of day. I can watch it any day of the week, twice on Sunday. And full disclosure, I went to a con and I met the voice actor / puppeteer of Kermit the Frog, who was in the 90s to the 2016, Steve Whitmire, voice of Kermit the Frog himself. Had him sign my Muppet Treasure Island, Diva-Da, and my Muppet Christmas Carol, Diva-Da, which are 2 of the greatest Muppet movies of all time. So without question, I'm looking at my list here. I see a few other names, but if I don't include the Muppets in the top 12, I am not a man or a Muppet. I'm a fool. So Zach Ford, I know you're watching, and I know and most importantly, you're listening. I'm going to say yes. The Muppets gets on the list. How can you not be a human being and not love the Muppets? The Muppets are for people of all ages, all generations. Even if you're on a far-off planet like Gonzo is in Muppets from Space, there's another movie. Doesn't matter. Muppets are awesome. It's a heck yes. I love the Muppets. I always have, and I always will. Kermit the Frog, we salute you, good sir.
Honestly, I didn't expect them to make it on, but I mean, but
we just made Zach Ford's Millennium just now.
Yeah, but but that's our list. Andrew, do you have any honourable mentions that haven't been mentioned?
The one other one that I probably would have mentioned if Muppets did not make it on the list was Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's a very fun franchise. A lot of them are pretty much guilty pleasures to me, but the first one is fantastic, and I love the third one, and A New Nightmare is also really good. But that's the only other one I would have mentioned. All the other ones that I got listed, they would not have made my list.
Jeff, what other honorable mentions that would you like to mention?
The one, if Muppets didn't make it, the one I was going to mention next would have been the Alien franchise. I think that's a very solid franchise. Yeah, 3 and Resurrection kind of have their problems. Prometheus, you could kind of stick in there, even though they're like, oh, it's not really connected, but it is connected. And yeah, Alien Covenant, I will kind of defend. It's not the best one, but it's still good. But Alien and Aliens are like the best ones that there are, and this is a very solid franchise. And the only other one I had that wasn't mentioned would have been a stretch a bit, the Rambo series. I love those films so much.
Hunter, any honorable mentions out there?
I actually had a few. I had, like Jeff, I had the Alien franchise. Just Alien and Aliens are great movies. I had A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, is most of them I just find as guilty pleasures. They're like just entertaining movies. I had the Hannibal Lecter franchise because there are 4 of them. Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, and Hannibal, I think, are really good. Hannibal Rising is okay for an origin story, but I just love the first 3. And then I had the Vacation franchise. I know this last one was god-awful, but Christmas Vacation, European Vacation, Vegas Vacation, and the original are really good classic comedies.
Ryan, any honorable mentions out there?
Well, if we were on the ship in Muppet Treasure Island and we were scraping the bottom of the barrel to grab an apple or two, if they were dirty and ripe and rye or whatever the heck they are, because I don't know fruits, guys. I don't speak fruit. I had the Resident Evil franchise. I had the Resident Evil franchise because 3 through 6, I saw in theaters. I know, like I said, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Resident Evil. I had Underworld. I had the Batman franchise with the first 3 because Batman and Robin is atrocious. I had Michael Bay's Transformers franchise because I like 1 and 3. I like 1 and 3. I'm not like Roca who likes all 5 of them. I only like 1 and 3.
Oh,
and then and then I had the DC Cinematic Universe because I actually enjoy all 5 of those movies for different sets of reasons. And then I had the original Superman franchise with Christopher Reeve, but that 2 if not 3 of those movies are just not that good. 2 of them anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, scraping the bottom of the barrel, but at least we got the Elite 12 that actually matter.
Yeah, I mean, just looking in the chat, there's a couple people upset that Mad Max didn't make the list. I mean,
I thought about Mad Max. Yeah, it would have been close.
Yeah, I also thought about Mad Max, but
I did, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't enjoy the original 3 enough, and the other big one, Star Trek, didn't make the list.
I haven't seen all of them. I want to see.
I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan either.
No, I only like the reboot trilogy, so that's about it.
Yeah, the newer ones I think are really good.
But other honorable mentions that I've got, personally, I had the Saw franchise out there.
Thought about it, but nah.
I had the Pokemon franchise.
You know what? That's thinking outside the box.
Yeah. I had Final Destination. I had Jurassic.
Okay.
I should have brought that up because I actually like the first 3. I really do.
I had Jurassic Park.
Man.
Jurassic Park. There's only 1 movie. Okay, there are no sequels. Just one.
The first one.
What franchise?
Yeah, it's not a franchise. It's a one-off movie that Spielberg did in '93.
I also had Pirates of the Caribbean in there. I had American Pie, and also in a technicality, because I actually did look at this. but I didn't like the DVD sequels that they've brought out for this one.
Oh yeah.
But The Lion King is actually a franchise because there's 3 other sequels that were only
Lion
direct to
King,
DVDs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's that Lions Guard thing they brought out a few years ago. So
I'm surprised I'm surprised no one brought up that Oscar-winning franchise, the Jaws franchise.
Again, there's only one film.
Mark, there's only one.
There's only one Jaws movie.
But yeah,
See, I kind of wish I didn't start and went with Hannibal, but
The only other one I had
Yeah.
then that wasn't mentioned was Die Hard. I was like those.
See,
I do like 1, 3, and 4 of that franchise. I really do. Well, 3 and 4 actually, because one I just thought was
three.
I mean, maybe I would have mentioned Jason Bourne, but again, that's like another one where.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was like, it was down low. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, scraping the bottom of everyone's barrels.
Yeah, I mean, I was almost. I'm considering bringing up American Pie myself, but yeah.
those movies are fun. I love those movies.
I mean,
I kind of wish someone brought up Twilight just cause.
Just because.
I'm surprised no one brought up Hunger Games because it's 4 movies.
No.
It was on my list. But anyway, now's the time to actually vote. Write down what you think should be number 12.
All right, now we gotta. It's time to get serious here, fellas.
All right, I gotta.
I'm looking at the. It's a good thing you put these up in the chat here, Malcolm. Thanks for doing that.
No, I wrote mine down.
I mean, I did too, but it helps to have them on screen. Like, it helps to have multiple sources.
Yeah.
What was
I
gonna
mean,
say?
I did that because the first time I did Hangouts, with this I didn't, and it was just a lot of confusion trying to remind people what was there. But just for the people outside that's watching us, what we've got in the 12 that got through, we've got Star Wars, Mission Impossible, Harry Potter, Fast and the Furious, the MCU, X-Men, Rocky, Middle-earth, Scream, Indiana Jones, James Bond, and The Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, what do you think should be 12?
It's honestly the only one that I think I said no to that made it on the list, and that is Fast and the Furious.
How dare you?
Jeff, what did you vote for number 12?
Just because I think there's just other franchises a little bit better than this. The Muppets.
Oh, you are such a fool.
Hunter, what did you put at number 12?
The Muppets.
Oh,
Dude!
no. You're breaking my heart.
Ryan, what did you put at number 12?
I don't know if you can see that. I put Scream, man.
Oh man, that's even worse.
I considered that at 12, but no.
Yeah, which means we've got a tie because I put Fast and the Furious.
Oh, thank
my-
the Lord.
So Ryan, you're the only one that voted differently. Muppets or Fast and the Furious at 12?
What are you doing to me?
This is Sophie's choice for you, Ryan.
This is not easy. Oh God. Oh, don't make me cry on camera. I'm not gonna cry. All right, I'm not gonna cry. Oh my God. Oh dear heavens almighty. Blah, 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 blah.
The Rock,
dear.
Ryan.
Dude, I need Zach Ford right now. Oh my God. This is not good. We may be here for a couple of hours. No, I'm kidding. Zach, please don't hate me. I'm gonna put Muppets at 12.
Ooh. No.
It made the list, though, guys. It made the list.
Well, I know whose SHI you know what list I just ended up on with Zach Ford.
So voting on number 11.
I'm not even changing my vote.
Yeah, I get it as much.
How can I do that to my own Muppet? Oh, man. I feel like the worst Benedict Arnold right now.
I know Andrew's going Fast and the Furious. I'm sticking with Fast and the Furious.
In case people
Jeff,
want proof
what do you have at 11?
I have Scream.
No.
Hunter, what do you have at 11?
I actually do have Scream.
Oh no, this is not looking good.
And Ryan, what do you have at 11?
Scream.
Oh no.
It hurts me. Trust me, it really does hurt me. But I think,
I honestly though, like I'm very happy it just made the list. To be honest, I didn't think it would.
yeah.
Yeah. Voting on number 10.
Number
Oh
10.
man. Again. Not changing my vote.
Yeah, I mean, me and Andrew are staying. Ryan, what do you have at 10?
Indiana Jones.
Wow.
Hunter?
Give me 1 second.
I'll go. Jeff, what do you have at 10?
It's not going to help any better. I have Harry Potter.
Hunter?
I also have Indiana Jones.
Oh my lord.
Y'all hurt.
So,
Y'all
Jeff,
hurt.
Fast and the Furious or Indiana Jones?
Choose wisely, Jeff.
Oh, god damn.
Poor Jeff.
You know what? I love Indy more. I gotta go Fast and the Furious.
No.
Okay. I'm just glad that Fast and Furious made the top 10.
Yeah.
I am happy about that too, Hunter. I'm with you.
Oh man.
Ooh.
What to
Jeff,
do?
Jeff, I still love you, but you chose poorly.
Oh man.
Oh, Indy's the best. Come on, man.
No,
I'm stuck
Fast.
between. Ooh.
Which? Hold on a second. We're on number 9 right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Andrew, what do you want for 9?
I voted Bond.
Jeff?
Stuck with Harry Potter.
Hunter?
I have Indiana Jones.
Ryan?
Indiana Jones.
And just because I haven't seen it, Rocky.
Ooh, I thought about going with Rocky, but I didn't.
But that means Indiana Jones is 9.
Oh man, I should have just went with Rocky because it would have been a tie.
Yeah, you would force Jeff to pick again. And I'm pretty sure. Andrew, what do you want for 8?
I mean, I'll stick with it, Bond.
Jeff, did you change your vote?
Nope.
Hunter?
I also have James Bond.
Okay.
Ryan?
You're all fools. I had Rocky.
Oh man.
Yeah, Jeff? Rocky?
Rocky or James Bond? Oh man.
Why do I get like the? I'm basically like in charge. I'm like Judge Doom right now.
Because you're the only one that voted different.
Yeah. Oh man, Bond or Rocky?
Dude, Bond is so much better. You know it.
No.
Yes, it is. Come on.
I know what he's gonna choose.
Don't let your feelings
I
of the
choose Harry
Sunny
Potter
and
really for this spot, but nobody listens.
No.
Don't
Potter-
choose because you're from Philadelphia.
I can't shake that Philly pride, man. I gotta go Bond at number 9.
No. You.
I mean, it's actually 8, but
It's actually
That's
8.
what I meant. Whatever we're on.
yeah.
It's actually 8. You fool. How can you put Bond at 8? That's way too low for me.
Oh man. Ooh.
I mean, at least Bond made the top 10 is what.
He's on the
I'm
list.
gonna get a
People.
lot of hate for my pick, but
I'm just happy screaming the list. I don't care what placement is list.
All right. So what are we on now? 7. 7.
7.
Seven.
Okay, now I had to change my vote, but I got it now.
Andrew, what do you have it for 7?
I put Harry Potter.
No!
Jeff, did you do the
Thank you. I even put periods. Harry Potter. Everybody, come on.
Hunter, what do you have?
I have Mission Impossible because I haven't seen any of them.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
Ryan, what do you have at 7?
Jeff, you can go ahead and throw me a knuckle sandwich. Yo, Adrian. I have Rocky.
I also put Rocky. So Hunter, it's between Rocky and Harry Potter.
You know what I'm picking?
Rocky.
Yeah.
Just say
Yeah.
Rocky.
You know, look at my poster, Malcolm. Look at the poster. You know what I'm picking for 7.
You know Harry Potter's gonna stay on here a while, Jeff.
So I guess that means Rocky is number 7.
Rocky is 7.
Okay, so now we're on number.
I know what's going next, and I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Hold on a second. Let me think about this. I gotta go
I'm
with
ready
this one.
to.
All right, hold on. I gotta write this down one real quick. Number 6. Okay, got it. All right, I got number 6. 6. See, 6 is good.
I'll lead the voting off. I've got Mission Impossible.
No.
I've only seen the first one. Don't forget. So I mean, that's
Well, like I told you earlier, you've been disavowed from the organization.
Ryan, what do you have for 6?
I think Jeff and I are going to become best friends. Harry Potter at number 6.
Hunter, what do you have for 6?
I also have Mission Impossible. I haven't seen it yet.
Jeff, you're
The
sticking with
Key and
Harry.
Peele. That's better. Harry Potter.
Andrew, what do you have?
I can't believe I'm the deciding vote. Harry Potter.
No!
Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, we finally got it.
It took 4 rounds. It took 4 rounds.
Oh man, this is where it gets.
So,
This is where it gets real tough for me.
Not really for me, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We're at number 5, gentlemen.
Yeah, and just to remind people what we've got left, we've got Star Wars, Mission Impossible, the MCU, X-Men, and Middle Earth. Here.
Okay.
Andrew, what do you have for
Mission Impossible.
Jeff,
I have Middle Earth.
Hunter,
I didn't change my answer. Mission Impossible.
How dare you?
Ryan,
One ring to rule them all, Middle Earth.
and I did not change my vote. It's Mission Impossible at 5.
You know Malcolm's not going to vote for Middle Earth. I mean, he was like there at the Oscars. He was like there at the
He was
Oscars
in
when they
the
won it.
movies, guys. Come on.
He was in all 600 movies, and they were filmed 2 miles from his own house.
I'm pretty sure he's like related to Peter Jackson, all right?
I cannot believe I'm doing this. This is ridiculous. This list has got some question marks here.
Let's see.
I think
Oh,
Jeff and
man.
I need to have a sit down and make our own list.
What's 4 last time? Middle
right.
Earth, X-Men, MCU, and which one?
Star Wars, X-Men, MCU, and Middle Earth.
We have Middle Earth left to go, so and we're on number 4 now, not 5. So
Yeah.
all right, I got it.
I'll lead this off. I've put X-Men. Ryan, what do you have?
I'm not changing my vote, son, even though it was filmed 2 minutes from your own house. Middle Earth, one ring to rule them all.
Hunter,
Surprisingly, I have Star Wars.
What?
Jeff,
Still kept with it. Middle Earth.
Hey,
Andrew,
Malcolm, want to do me a favor and personally apologize to Elijah Wood and Peter Jackson for me? Middle Earth.
Okay, so what do we have? Star Wars. What do we have? Star Wars, X-Men, and MCU.
and MCU.
Yep.
Star Wars, X-Men, and MCU. Oh boy, this is tough.
Yep. Andrew, the camera's already on you. What do you want for 3?
Oh man, I'm sorry, Hugh Jackman. X-Men.
Jeff,
I also have X-Men.
Hunter,
I'm keeping Star Wars.
Ryan,
Oh my god, so hard. This is so hard. Here come the hater comments in the comment section. The MCU.
Ooh.
but I have got the X-Men, so X-Men is 3rd.
Oh,
This is
man,
tough
this
now.
is tough. Yeah,
And
This is,
damn.
yeah.
And
Are we
now
picking number 1 or are we picking number 2?
we're voting for the number 1.
Okay. So we have Star Wars or MCU. Gee, that's going to be easy.
I mean, I think the number 1 for me is pretty obvious.
I think number 1 for me is going to be. I think number 1 is going to surprise a few people.
Yeah. I'll
So we're
lead
voting
this
on
off.
number 1.
I've got the MCU. Ryan, what do you have?
Well, I have a poster of it on my wall because I think it's my number 1 favorite movie of all time, at least for the moment. The Force is strong with this one. Star Wars, number 1.
Hunter, what do you have for number 1?
I have the MCU for number 1.
Jeff.
Just because it's had way more of an impact on me than the other. Star Wars.
And Andrew, what do you have for number 1?
Oh man, I can't believe I was left with such a big decision. Star Wars.
Whoa!
So Star Wars is number 1, MCU is number 2.
Hey, there are no losers on that list. No losers.
I was gonna say though,
except for Fast and Furious.
yeah, I'm gonna say this though, and I respect everyone's opinion. I think the MCU had better movies than Star Wars did, but Star Wars is still more influential over.
Yeah. To me, with all due respect, and some of you panelists may think differently, and that's fine. To me, the Star Wars movies, to me anyway, are more rewatchable than some of the MCU films. It just depends on what MCU film you're referring to and which ones you like or don't like.
I mean, I can't really say anything. I have Black Panther as my favorite MCU movie of all time. So
I have Winter Soldier as my number 1 favorite MCU movie right now.
I mean, for me, it's Infinity War, but
I would probably put Infinity War in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
If not top 4.
Anyway, time to recap the list. Our top 12 movie franchise. At number 12, we've got The Muppets, and somewhere out there you can hear the screams of
And Jack Ford is
Atlantis.
screaming.
He's screaming, why?
And that's a good transition to number 11, because number 11 we've got Scream.
I see what you did there.
You're roping around.
At number 10, we've got Fast and the Furious. At number 9, we've got Indiana Jones. At number 8, we've got James Bond. At number 7, we've got Rocky. At 6, we've got Harry Potter. At 5, we've got Mission Impossible. At 4, we've got Middle Earth. At 3, we've got X-Men. At 2, we've got MCU. At 1, we've got Star Wars. So all in all, it's actually a pretty solid list. I mean, a lot of people are probably going to be unhappy that we didn't put Star Trek on there, but I mean, for me, I've only seen the reboot trilogy, and it doesn't. Yeah.
I think somewhere in the deepest. Yeah, I think somewhere in the deepest corners of the interwebs, I think Scott Mance and Robert Meyer Burnett are screaming, "Why, God?"
I think Sandy Robinson too, Sandman himself.
And
Matt Kern's out there somewhere as well.
I'm still surprised MCU wasn't number 1. That kind of shocked me a bit.
I mean, it's one of those ones like everyone's gonna have their own. Everyone's gonna have their own opinion at the end. It's like.
And it's all subjective. Let's keep that in mind.
Yes.
And Andrew, where can people find you online?
You can find me various channels. Worldwide Movie Games here, Take 3. You can find me over my own personal channel. I do reviews at just Andrew Hayes. And that's it.
Jeff, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Facebook. Just look for Jeff Varia. I'm one of the only guys there named that. I'm also on YouTube. I do a lot of video animation work, editing. I do a lot of work over with Worldwide Movie Games Network, hosting, editing videos there. And I also announced this on the Take 3 Late Night with Take 3 the other night. I am starting my own channel podcast type deal, so definitely be on the look for that. It's called Machinate Media. It should be dropping within the next couple of weeks, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
Hunter, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me watching the Harry Potter movies 12,000 more times in the next 2 days. You can also check out my YouTube channel, Ephemeral TV, and on the next channel, playing trivia and everywhere.
Ryan, where can people find you online?
Well, I'm not being subjected to the hater comments and the pitchforks and torches that are digitally made on something known as the interwebs. You can find me safe and sound on Facebook at Ryan Permison. That's RyanPermison. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM, the number 5. And make sure you check out our YouTube channel, Nerd Culture. We do movie reviews, TV reviews, comic books, video games, whatever. Anything nerdy, we do it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nerd Culture. And make sure you're also following us on Twitter and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. We got some brand new videos coming your way very soon. In the meantime, thanks for having me, and hopefully I'll be around to fight another day, because I know a lot of the haters are coming at me, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I love the hate.
And I'm going to say hi to all the cool people in the chat. We've got the cool guy in the chat. We've got Kurt the Hurt. We've got Star Drew. I don't see anyone else that may, and Jonathan Peck and a few other people that were in the chat there.
Hi, chat.
They're all just yelling at us about our picks.
I bet they are. This was a very divisive list.
And
I'm just very happy Scream made it. That's all I care about.
Yo, me too. Me too, brother.
I mean, I'm kind of happy Herbie didn't get nominated, just to be honest.
Meatballs didn't get nominated either.
Yeah. But anyway, you can find me on Take 3 doing Rankum every Sunday night. There'll be a poll that will go up in a bit with the 5 options for next week. I might actually make it 6, but I've got an idea for a nice fun one to find there as well. And it may or may not be connected to the Oscar announcement from last week, but but
I don't know how I feel about that announcement, by the way.
Neither. But you can also find me competing in movie trivia on Multiplex and Worldwide Movie Games all over the place. And until next time, we'll see you when we rank them again.